Guys, how's it going? It's Al. DraftKings Week 1 NFL DFS is here, and I've got my Week 1 top running backs. Now, it's not a rankings list. The rankings that I'm going to have for the running back position, my top 24 running backs, is going to exist on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. If you've not given that a follow, go ahead and do that. If you've not subscribed there, smizzle.tv/ff, or just do a YouTube search for Al Smizzle Fantasy Football, or just go to the main page, my home page on this channel, and you'll see a link right to it. Gonna have 6 videos a week that come out on that channel, as well as the 8 that are a week every single week of the regular season right here on the main channel. Tons of content this year, 14 videos a week. It's gonna be a lot. All the DFS stuff is gonna be right here. So why don't we get right to it with my 5-box running backs in Week 1. Let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is up for Week 1. Let me refresh this and see how many people are in there. Let's see how many we got right now. We had 246. We are already at 817. There are 4,000 spots in this tournament. It is a $10 tournament. I believe it is 3 max. It pays 10% of the prize money. There's 40K in guaranteed prizes in this one. 10% will go to first. 400 is going to go to 10th. So it's a really flat, really solid payout arc with enough money up top for you to go after. It is also rake free. So 100% of the entry fees that go into this get paid out. DraftKings makes no money on this tournament. The absolute best tournament that exists on DraftKings.com. So make sure you get in there. There's a link down below in the pinned comment. Smizzle.tv/links. It has links to everything that I do, including the Listener League, including Best Buys. Use that. It'll take you where you need to go. I'll show it to you later in the video. My first running back. Now, look, I need you to understand. I know the thumbnail says top running backs, but like we focus on 5-box running backs every Tuesday. We try to identify running backs who are in the best situations possible. And there are 5 things that we have found through back testing that are provably true that improve fantasy production versus a projection over time. They are running backs who play at home, running backs who are favored, running backs who tend to project for over 20 touches. Does Christian McCaffrey project to get over 20 touches in this game? Yes. Do they have involvement in the passing game? Yes. And do they get those extremely valuable inside the 5 carries? When a running back checks off every one of those 5 boxes, they end up on this video. This week I have 5 of them for you. Some weeks we're going to have less and we'll hit on other running backs. Some weeks we're going to have more. Christian McCaffrey clearly hits that box. Now I understand that people are very nervous about Christian McCaffrey all the time. It's like there's a lot of hand-wringing. Oh God, I can't draft Christian McCaffrey this year. Like, what if he gets injured? Like, what if he doesn't play? Like, is Christian McCaffrey in or is Christian McCaffrey out? If he's out, if Christian McCaffrey's out, my expert advice to you is don't play him. Okay, so on the weeks he's out, we're not going to play him. But on weeks like this where he's in, I believe that you should probably click him because he scores a ton of fantasy points and he can do it without scoring touchdowns. Touchdowns for him seem to be just the icing on the cake. It's this column right here, the targets column, where he dominates pretty much every other running back in existence, and it allows him to post games like this one in week 10 last year against Arizona, where they got absolutely they just crushed them, right? And he scores 26 fantasy and did not have a touchdown. He scores 1 touchdown here, 6 targets, 24.7 fantasy points. 27 fantasy points in week 1 against the Jets. 21 carries, did not get a bonus for you, and did not score a touchdown for you. It's this usage in this targets column that really sets McCaffrey apart from everybody else. He should be a 10K player any week that he's healthy. He's 8,500 because week 1 prices are always going to be more friendly because DraftKings, week 1 is kind of a promotional week on all the daily fantasy sites, and they bring in a ton more people and new people try it out, and they want it to be a situation like a user experience where people are very happy about the lineups that they're building, right? They want people to be extremely happy about the lineups that they're building, and to do that, you can't tighten the screws on them. So Christian McCaffrey at 8,500 feels like he's too cheap on DraftKings, where bonuses and full PPR are in play. I'm not somebody who believes that you have to fade players in tournaments. I understand the game theory around it, but you want to keep your cumulative ownership under a certain amount. If you're going to play Christian McCaffrey in a lineup, make sure that you're finding some really low owned players that you can attack. Every Saturday I come out with the 5 under 5 list, so you can stomach a Christian McCaffrey if he's like 30%, as long as you have somebody else who's under 10% or 2 players that are under 10%. in that same lineup while still correlating for tournaments. He's always going to be a solid cash play, especially in situations where the Panthers are home and favored like they are this week against Cleveland. Joe Mixon is my next running back on the list. A lot less pricey, $1,400 less than was Christian McCaffrey. They are favored by 6.5 points. They square off against Pittsburgh. Yes, Pittsburgh has a good defensive line, but like the defense as a whole last year in terms of like yards allowed was 20th out of 32 teams. Like they're gonna get to move the ball. The one thing that the Bengals invested in more than anything else this offseason, they had all of their skill position players with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow. Everybody on offense was basically already set at those outside skill positions. Defensively, they needed to get better a little bit, but like sometimes piece through superior firepower is a thing, and they certainly have superior firepower on the offensive end. However, they could not keep Joe Burrow vertical. And the one thing that they invested in more than anything else through free agency and the draft was in that offensive line. Guess who's going to reap the benefits from that massive investment, especially in games where Cincinnati is playing at home and favored? It's going to be Joe Mixon. Mixon has shown great talent in the receiving game, right? He is a good pass catcher. He is also an extremely hard runner who gets a ton of inside the 5 carries. And this Bengals offense projects to be one of the league leaders, top 5, top 10 team in terms of red zone trips again this year in 2022. If they get in there, that just pumps his ceiling up a lot. If they play from ahead, that pumps up the ability or probability that he reaches that 100-yard bonus. But his floor with 4 to 6 targets expected, even in games that they're going to win, he's going to be involved in the passing games for dump downs and scheduled plays like on a little circle route or a square in or a flat route where they're going to get the ball into his hands, whether to take pressure off of Burrow with a screenplay or just as a scripted thing. So Joe Mixon at 7,100, again, favored by 6.5 against Pittsburgh, looks like a fantastic play. Earlier in the video, I had mentioned that we have this link tree. Here it is, smizzle.tv/links. You have links to everything that we do. The live streams on Twitch, my Instagram, the Smiz Gang Listener League, as we talked about earlier, our Discord, community Discord. If you are a channel member on YouTube, you get access to all the VIP rooms in there. So if you have not joined the channel yet, you can and get access to people, a community that's like 6,000 people strong that you can bounce your ideas off of anytime, because daily fantasy is an extremely isolating game, and it makes it tough if you're all alone. This gives you a community of folks who are like-minded just like you on every single daily fantasy topic. And the No Kid Hungry fundraiser, we are trying to raise $100,000 this season for No Kid Hungry. $50,000 of that is going to come from the community. I'm going to match $10,000 every time we hit $10,000. So once we hit 10, I will add 10 to the pot. Once we hit 20, I will add another 10. Every single dollar helps. If you can donate $1, that helps. If you can donate $5, if you want to skip your latte from Starbucks in the morning, that helps. There are so many kids in this country who are food insecure that don't know where their next meal is coming from. And if you wanted to take part in that with No Kid Hungry, one of the best charities that's out there, we've worked with them for multiple years now, providing school breakfasts and school lunches to kids who really rely on that throughout the country right now. Be a part of something that's bigger than yourself and jump in on the No Kid Hungry fundraiser here in 2022 and help us get to that $100,000 fundraising goal. Antonio Gibson is my next $5 running back on the week. Now, I was not expecting Antonio Gibson to be on this list, but because of the unfortunate happenings around Brian Robinson Jr., Antonio Gibson, favored by 3 against Jacksonville and at home, puts himself in a position where we know what his pass game usage has been because of the role of J.D. McKissic on this offense, where long down and distance, as well as like a 2-minute drill, had gone to J.D. McKissic. But with the emergence of Brian Robinson through off-season training camp and through preseason, all of the work was towards Antonio Gibson not being the first and second down running back, but instead moving to more of a position where he was going to be more involved in the passing game, right? They've got Dotson on one side, they've got the F1 on the other side, and Antonio Gibson, based on the fact that he was essentially a wide receiver in college, was going to get that sort of usage here. So Gibson really looks like he could just be the guy that we need. He's only 5,800. I'm not sure how many people are going to be on him yet. I really don't. I don't know if people are buying in, or you're always going to have the wait and see crowd, right? Like, I've played Antonio Gibson before and he burned me, so I'm not going to play him until I found out that he has that usage in passing game because I got burned by him before. Well, if you look back at the end of last season, by the time you've waited and seen, the opportunity for you to win with that thing is gone because now everybody else knows about it. So if Gibson's going to come in at a lower percentage in tournaments because of that history. But looking back at how they used him late in last season, this was fine. If he's going to get us 4+ targets a game, I'm totally fine with that, especially in situations where they're playing at home and favored. Jacksonville's defense might be improved this year, but also it might still be the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Antonio Gibson looks like a solid play to me. It's going to come down to the percentage and the leverage that we can get with him versus the field. Running back number 4, sometimes it can just be an obvious. You don't have to go really off the reservation. You don't. You can, but like, if nobody's going to play Derrick Henry, and by nobody, I mean like 10% or less of the field, because everybody's going to flock to Jonathan Taylor, and everybody's going to go play Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon and all these high-profile backs in faster-paced games, and ignore Derrick Henry, who is coming off of a foot injury, but seems all the way back, is priced at 8,600, and last year, finally, we're still not getting what I want, but finally, we were getting enough usage in the passing game for him to be considered used in the passing game. All we want is 1 screen pass per quarter. That's it. Please, Tennessee, just throw him a screen pass. That's it. You don't even have to do much. Just like run a little screen, get the ball in his hands, and then let him rumble behind blockers against defensive backs. They'll just die of fear. If you have this man running downhill at you with like 3 hogs running in front of him, it's already bad enough for a defensive back to have Derrick Henry running down the field at full speed at them anyway, but now he's got a cadre of blockers in front of him. I'm not seeing the problem here. Get the ball in this guy's hands more in the passing game, but you don't have to do it like 5, 6, 8 times, just like 4. They'll literally just pass out. Like the safety's going to be on that side of the field, and here comes Derrick Henry with 3 blockers in front of him. They're just going to die. Yeah, he'll just run untouched to the end zone. Just of fear. They'll faint. It'll be great. Anyway, 5.5 point favorites over the Giants and at home. Could there be a softer spot for Derrick Henry to fall in, and like he projects at like 10% or under because of everything else that's out there? There's all these other shinier spots that people want to focus on, right? That people want to go to in order to get there. So does he project for over 20 touches? Yes, they're at home. They're favored. He has usage in the passing game, and we know that he's going to get all those inside the 5 touches. So Derrick Henry, a $5 running back here in week 1. And my last $5 running back in week 1, it's Austin Ekeler, guys. 3.5 point favorites over the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to carry a lot of percentage with him as well in tournaments. Like Derrick Henry's going to be the lowest percentage guy on this list this week. That's just the way that it goes. And maybe Antonio Gibson. The other 3 are going to be somewhat chalky at various different levels, but Austin Ekeler is just amazing. I'm not sure that he can replicate the 20 touchdowns that he had last season because a lot of them came in the passing game, 8 of them. They were not close to the end zone. If you look at like Keenan Allen as opposed to Austin Ekeler, Keenan Allen had very few touchdowns on even more targets. Touchdowns that happen from like the 15 through the 40-yard line are not sticky from one year to the next. However, he did score 12 rushing touchdowns on a career high in inside the 5 carries. So he carries with him a lot of floor based on the receiving targets that he gets, 94 targets last year. We know what his target ceiling is. He typically lives in this 4 to 6 range, which is more than enough. This game does have one of the higher totals on the week. It is a later game, which gives you roster flexibility. He does get those inside the 5 carries, and we're looking for like 12 to 15 carries, 5, 6 targets, 20 touch expectation from Austin Ekeler, loads of touchdown equity as well on the ground. And then if he can score a touchdown through the air, great. But like the gravy is going to be the touchdowns he gets on the ground and the floor from those massive targets, because the target is worth 2.3 more times fantasy points than any carry for a running back. So you want to target targets in your daily fantasy lineups. If you're still watching the video, take a second, boop the snoot on that like button, would greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, because as I said in the open, I have a ton of videos coming out all season on this channel and the fantasy football channel, and every one of those clicks really helps out. Thank you guys for being here once again. Let's keep it moving.
He's a legend.